Yeah, so her story goes like this. As a young child at 2 years old, one day while she was playing out with some other children, she came home and exhibited some signs that appeared to be like a cold. But in short order, the parents realized that there's something, a problem of some kind, called in a doctor, and he ultimately diagnosed her with meningitis. It cleared up and everything seemed okay, except later when she was playing around on her own nearby, a neighbor noticed when she was calling her, the neighbor calling Salomia, my mother, that my mother was sticking out one ear and not the other. So they called the doctor in, and he alerted the parents to the fact that she had lost all her hearing in her left ear. Later, several years later, when she was 12 years old, she came down with scarlet fever. And
Oh my
regretfully,
goodness.
that illness took most of her hearing from her right ear. She ended up effectively deaf. She could only hear about 20% on her right ear.
So that changed her life. I mean, people can overcome this, right?
Yeah.
But back then, even more challenging and not as much aid and assistance, correct?
Yes, she was fortunate in a sense, and the fortune was in the fact that she had had enough hearing so that her vocal, the way she spoke and everything, did not signal away to people listening that she was deaf. Um, it- Most people who are deaf, they don't have the hearing to be able to correctly speak, and you can sort of detect when you talk to a deaf person who's deaf from birth, for example, that they can't quite hear because they don't quite pronounce the
Sure.
all the words completely. But in her case, that was not part of her issues in terms of dealing with other people. She was quite able to deal with everybody without them even realizing that she was deaf. She was also able to read lips. She learned to read lips, so she could read what you were saying by just watching your lips. And that was a handy little, skill
Trick.
that she had that she would be able to use in conversations with people. But in terms of going to school and in terms of group meetings, such as around the dinner table or whatever, she had a deficiency because she had to be alerted that someone's talking to her so she could look at that person and read their lips. And in school, she couldn't hear what people were saying behind her. She could see the teacher and she could read the lips of the teacher and what the teacher was saying. But it was a handicap for her in terms of learning to not be able to hear what was going on in the class otherwise.